What if the billionaire founder of WhatsApp once cleaned floors while surviving on government food stamps? John Koum's story starts in a place most Silicon Valley legends never mention. While other tech founders were coding in dorm rooms or garages, Koum was pushing a mop across grocery store floors, literally counting every dollar to survive. This wasn't some romantic startup struggle story. This was raw, unfiltered poverty that would have crushed most people's entrepreneurial dreams before they even began. But here's what makes Koum's journey so remarkable. Every humiliating moment, every government assistance check, every night wondering how he'd pay rent, actually forged the exact mindset that would eventually create a communication platform used by over 2 billion people worldwide. How does someone transform that level of desperation into revolutionary innovation? Born in a small Ukrainian village in 1976, Koum's early life was marked by hardship that most Americans couldn't imagine. His father worked construction while his mother stayed home. The family lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with no hot water, sharing space with his grandmother. This wasn't just modest living. This was genuine poverty in a system that offered little hope for upward mobility. When Koum was 16, everything changed overnight. His mother made the terrifying decision to pack up their entire lives and move to Mountain View, California. They arrived with virtually nothing, speaking no English, carrying only a few possessions and an enormous amount of uncertainty. His father stayed behind, planning to join them later, but that reunion would never happen. The American dream quickly became an American nightmare. His mother found work as a babysitter, earning barely enough to keep them housed. Koum enrolled in high school but struggled with the language barrier and cultural shock. While his classmates were worried about prom dates and college applications, he was calculating if they could afford groceries for the week. The government assistance came next. Food stamps, welfare checks, subsidized housing. For a teenager already struggling with identity and belonging, accepting government handouts felt like wearing a scarlet letter. Every trip to the grocery store became an exercise in shame and survival. Koum would later say these experiences taught him the value of every single dollar, a lesson that would prove invaluable in his business career. After barely graduating high school, Koum enrolled at San Jose State University to study computer science and mathematics, but college life proved just as challenging as everything else. While other students partied and networked, Koum was working nights cleaning floors at a local grocery store. The physical exhaustion was brutal, but the psychological toll was even worse. Picture this scene. It's 2 a.m. and 19-year-old John Koum is mopping the same grocery store where he'd used food stamps just hours earlier. His back aches, his hands are raw from cleaning chemicals, and he's got a computer science exam in 6 hours. Most people would have given up on their education dreams right there. But Koum discovered something powerful during those late-night cleaning sessions. While pushing that mop around empty aisles, his mind was actually solving complex programming problems. The repetitive physical work freed up his brain to think creatively about code and algorithms. What seemed like the worst possible job was actually providing him with the mental space to become a better programmer. His breakthrough came through an unlikely source. A computer programming book he found at a thrift store became his gateway to serious programming skills. While other students were buying expensive textbooks, Koum was mastering programming languages from a $5 book with torn pages and coffee stains. That thrift store discovery would eventually be worth billions. The next pivotal moment happened when Koum taught himself computer networking, not through expensive courses or formal training, but by spending countless hours in the computer lab, often sleeping there to avoid going home to his cramped apartment. He became obsessed with understanding how computers communicate with each other. This obsession led to his first real break. In 1997, Yahoo hired him as an infrastructure engineer. For someone who'd been cleaning floors just months earlier, landing a job at one of the internet's biggest companies felt surreal. But Koum quickly proved he belonged there, working on systems that millions of people relied on every day. However, corporate life at Yahoo taught him something unexpected about himself. He hated bureaucracy, meetings, and corporate politics with a passion that bordered on physical revulsion. While his colleagues navigated office dynamics and played political games, Koum just wanted to build things that worked elegantly and simply. After 9 years at Yahoo, Koum was burned out on corporate culture but rich with technical experience. He'd saved money, learned from some of the industry's best engineers, and developed strong opinions about what technology should and shouldn't do. Most importantly, he'd maintained his immigrant work ethic and his deep appreciation for simplicity. The iPhone's release in 2007 changed everything for Koum. Like many engineers, he immediately recognized the device's potential to revolutionize communication. But like most people who saw opportunity, Koum saw a specific problem that needed solving. Existing messaging apps were cluttered, complicated, and often unreliable. His childhood friend, Brian Acton, also a former Yahoo engineer, became his co-founder and sounding board. Together, they spent months analyzing the mobile messaging landscape, identifying exactly what frustrated users about existing solutions. Their conclusion was surprisingly simple. People wanted messaging that worked like texting, but without the SMS fees. The early days of WhatsApp development happened in Koum's modest department, a far cry from the legendary garage startups of Silicon Valley folklore. But this environment perfectly suited Koum's minimalist philosophy. No fancy offices, no ping-pong tables, no free gourmet lunches. Just two guys with laptops building something they believed the world needed. Their first version launched in 2009 and immediately faced the harsh reality that most startups encounter. Initial user adoption was slow, bugs were frequent, and competing against established players seemed impossible. Many entrepreneurs would have pivoted or given up during this discouraging phase. But Koum's years of poverty and struggle had given him something invaluable, an extremely high tolerance for uncertainty and discomfort. When other founders might have panicked about slow growth, Koum just kept improving the product methodically. Every user complaint became a development priority. Every crash became a learning opportunity. The breakthrough came when they added the ability to send photos and media. Suddenly, WhatsApp usage exploded globally, particularly in international markets where SMS costs were prohibitively expensive. Users were sending millions of messages daily, and the growth curve became exponential. What made WhatsApp different wasn't just technical superiority, it was Koum's philosophy about user privacy and simplicity. Having grown up in a country where government surveillance was common, he built WhatsApp with privacy as a fundamental principle, not an afterthought. No ads, no data mining, no unnecessary features that complicated the user experience. By 2014, WhatsApp had become one of the most valuable private companies in the world. When Facebook offered to acquire the company for $19 billion, Koum insisted on signing the deal at the social services building where he'd once collected food stamps. That symbolic gesture represented the completion of an incredible personal journey. The acquisition made Koum one of the wealthiest immigrants in American history, but perhaps more importantly, it validated his belief that success comes from solving real problems with elegant solutions, regardless of your background or starting point. Looking back at Koum's journey, the most striking element isn't the financial outcome, it's how his early struggles directly contributed to his later success. The food stamps taught him to value every dollar and avoid unnecessary expenses. The floor cleaning job gave him mental space to think creatively about programming. The immigrant experience made him appreciate simple, reliable communication. For aspiring entrepreneurs, Koum's story offers a powerful lesson about reframing adversity. Instead of viewing difficult circumstances as obstacles to overcome, consider how they might be providing you with unique insights, skills, or perspectives that your competitors lack.